Well, you all have heard from me of my admiration and appreciation and absolutely deep gratitude for Julie's wonderful life. I realized as I was sitting down among the many things that probably didn't get cited, what I wanted to emphasize was, because it's still in operation downstairs, is the Dreamers and Believers exhibit. Now, it was done certainly by a professional group. It was Julie who made it happen. So many people have stopped me along the way to celebrate that exhibit and what an amazing way it tells our story. Robert Willis, the Dean of Canterbury, was so moved by it because he said, you know, if you're Dean of an English cathedral, you've never seen pictures of it getting built. Watching that video, step by step it gets built, was very moving for him to imagine how it really could have happened. So that's been a real gift to all of us. Well, I'm going to hand things over to Anisha, but I just wanted to gather here to say one more time what a joy it is to celebrate Julie's wonderful ministry among us and all the ways she's touched all of our lives, but the lives of hundreds of thousands of people who come to this place. Now, turn over to Anisha.
It's always my first problem. Welcome, everybody. Today brings a day of mixed emotions, happiness and sadness. I would like to begin by thanking Steve Huber and my colleagues in visitor programs who have guided me over the past few weeks in preparation for this day of celebration. I would also like to thank Carol Wade in the worship department, Andy McCormick and her team, and Linda Reckline for all of today's preparations. I also need to thank the numerous volunteers that have assisted in the preparation for this reception. I would especially like to thank the Washington Committee, summer evening volunteers, information desk greeters, docents, and staff aides. When given a task, you folks really know how to execute a plan. The food is not what brings us here today. It's our relationship and camaraderie with one extraordinary person who has dedicated the past 8 years to this cathedral and its family. Julie Cooke. How does one describe Julie? Well, I had a difficult time coming up with words or phrases that would fit, so I decided to come up with a list. That seemed endless, and we would still be here for dinner. So I started thinking about the first time I met Julie. Julie is an educator. One of the first things Julie made me do was take an audio tour, and I wasn't even hired yet. That was just the interview. She is constantly looking at ways to make this building, its message and mission speak to the masses, whether it was for 2 people or 62. She has spent hours upon hours coming up with new ways for overhauling group tour and school and family programs, volunteer programs, and visitor programs to make every visitor feel welcomed. She has made an impact on almost every program or project that has come across her desk. She has developed detailed training plans so every volunteer who interacts with the public has the most up-to-date information to empower him or her to be the most hospitable to every visitor that they come in contact with. Determination. When Julie puts her mind to something, she gives 200% and more. The creation of the bus reservation system is just one example of that determination. Some of you may remember what is called the bad old days of buses, double and triple parking on Wisconsin Avenue. She spent hours at ANC and DOT meetings, getting approval and permits every month to park the buses on Wisconsin. Every month, a new meeting and a new permit. That project transformed into the bus parking garage, and with her help and fortitude, we have a very successful reservation system. Dedication. Julie's dedication to her work is astounding. One can always seem to find Julie here early in the morning or late into the evening. Those of us who have worked closely with her have been known to receive voicemail or email messages at 1 a.m. about some new idea or a change to some project. She is constantly working on multiple projects at the same time or developing a slideshow. And oh, the slideshows. She has developed How in the World That They Built It, Centennial Lecture Series, numerous specialty tours and exhibits, World War II, Chaplain, Annual Crash, Commemorating Sephiroth, photo and art exhibits, and Cascama. Julie's dedication and determination gave us a wonderful and memorable year with the Centennial celebration. From the Dreamers and Believers exhibit to the Centennial series to Cathedral Day with the reenactment, every event was amazing. She is one of the only people I know that can quote extensively from Froman, Olmsted, and others. And oh, those banners. She's become an expert on bungee cords. Julie is a nurturer. She has not only built a staff, but she built a family at the West End among our visitor programs, staff and volunteers that spread to the rest of the Cathedral and Foundation. She's built relationships across the coast from everyone in facilities to admin to All Hallows Guild and the Choral Society. She has developed relationships with the Guild of Professional Tour Guides and the Old Town Trolley to build a partnership with local tourism communities. Professionalism. She is a servant leader, always pitching in to help with any project, big or small. Stuffing envelopes to tidying up the office on the West End. She's always willing to give a tour to a school group or a VIP. Her professionalism has been witnessed in many large events like state funerals and national prayer events. Julie, we have all gathered here to celebrate you because you are everything I said and more. We will miss you. And if you ever get bored, there's a certain docent and information desk program that's always looking for good volunteers. Now, I'd like to turn...
Actually, there have been days Julie and I were like this. Maybe a couple of my department heads and Julie have been like this, but then on the other hand, I know probably more of that is me than Julie. So we really are here to tell you how much we miss you. And I'm probably more here for facilities than I am foundation because I'm talking a little about this little memento we had to give you. But Julie feels so much like part of facilities and foundation as much as she is part of the cathedral because there have been so many things, whether it's the bus garage was mentioned. Most of you don't know it. Went through a couple of designs in the bus garage at one point. A couple of us weren't sure we could really fit it. Events, it was mentioned, whether state funerals, prayer services, other events. A lot of people do not see what we see, what Julie does with the cathedral and close. You have to be out there on a prayer service in January when it's sub-freezing weather and all the guests arrive, or maybe volunteers.
Your colleagues, what a great blessing it has been to be your colleague and to be your friend. Of your commitment to this cathedral over these last 8.5 years. As has already been mentioned, you worked tirelessly, day in and day out, always thinking, even when off the job, about how to improve our visitor experience, and your contributions will live on in the life of this cathedral. And it's, no one can even begin to guess the number of lives that you have touched. We hear it mostly on Sundays.
I feel like the luckiest person in the world. I don't know what lucky star I was born under that brought me to this place, but it has just meant everything to me. You know, as I thought about it, I knew I was going to have to say something today, and as I was thinking about it, I realized that it was what kept flooding my mind was all of you, and all the people, and all that you all have meant to me. And if I list everybody that I wrote down,